What's up, everybody? Welcome in to the Early Edge NBA Live Show preview for Thursday, March 10th. I am your host, Alan Bell. The coach could not make it with his PGA duties that he has. It was right down to the wire, but we couldn't get him in. However, I assure you and promise you that we will have a fun and exciting show because, to be completely honest with you, M Squared and PropStarz, they run it. They've got you in great hands. So first off, before we break everything down, I want to make sure everybody knows about the official Early Edge March Madness bracket. We have this live ready to go. We want every single person that pays attention to these shows that's in the chat, the entire Early Edge crew, all of you guys. We want everybody in it compete against Coach M Squared, PropStarz, the Maestro, me, the Jeweler, you name it. Everybody that is associated with the Early Edge will be in it, compete for bragging rights, prizes, and so much more. All right, enough of that. Let's bring in the stars of the show. And gentlemen, looking sharp here. PropStarz got a nice little, afternoon sunlight going in the background. Looks comfortable. How we doing?
It's beautiful out here in parts unknown, AB. Great to see you. Also, kudos for producing and hosting, a man of many hats. Mikey, great to see you. I'm stoked. Only 2 games, but we've got my Sixers playing tonight. The return of Ben Simmons. I am so pumped up.
It's going to be an awesome one. And I tell you what, I appreciate you saying that. Look, I'm just a guy trying to show up to work tomorrow, right? That's all we want to do. Just continue to be employed, and we're happy with that. M Squared, also here in Nashville. What's up, man?
Not much. Getting ready for this game. Look, the March Madness games have been phenomenal. This feels like a nice little edge or nice little end to the night, basically, if you will. I'm not convinced both of these games will be great tonight, but I'm convinced that one of them will, and that's the first one. I'm very excited for that one. I'm treating this one basically as a playoff game, as I think everybody else in the building will as well.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And I'll tell you what, let's take a look at what we have on the slate for tonight. So just 2 games, as M Squared said, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We've got the Nets at the 76ers. 76ers are 4.5-point favorite as we sit right now. A total 235, 236, depending on your book there. And then we also have 10 p.m. Eastern tonight. The Warriors at the Nuggets. Warriors a 2-point favorite and a total of 228 there. So that is our schedule for tonight. What we want to do, realize that, we don't have a ton of time before the first one starts. So we want to jump right into it. And PropStarz, I'm going to come to you, man. I want to break down your donkey, your burro that you have going for tonight. Let me get this on the screen, break it down. What do you got, buddy?
Yeah, so I've got a same game parlay in this 76ers Nets game that plays plus 700. First up, we've got the Swiss Army knife, Bruce Brown, 6+ rebounds. Next up, we've got KD, 5+ assists. He's been doing a lot of playmaking, initiating a lot of offense for Brooklyn. James Harden, 9+ assists. This guy is a triple-double machine. He's been absolutely phenomenal for the 76ers. KD to score 25+ points. I think he has a big bounce back game after the quiet game versus the Charlotte Hornets a couple days ago. Then we've got Joel Embiid scoring 30+ points, 2 threes for James Harden. Put that all together, it gets you plus 700.
Solid play, my man. Solid play. I hope that we crash on this one tonight, cash it, and look good doing it. All right, now let's get into our best bets that we have for tonight. And again, only 2 games. So we've only got 2 best bets going tonight. However, I promised on Tuesday in the chat that we would hit way more audience questions, chat questions that we have. So everybody put those in. I promise you, we are going to hit every single one of them that you want. Make sure to include the juice on those prop bets that you have. You can ask about anything, props, spreads, totals, you name it. Our guys will hit it. And also, there were questions about answering questions in regards to the futures bets. We're going to do that as well. So if there's any futures that you want to take a look at, whether that be to win the NBA championship, Eastern, Western, MVP, whatever it is, you name it, drop those in, put it in the chat. I swear to you, I will get it on the screen and we will talk about it. All right, so let's take a look at our best bets here. M Squared, coming to you first. Bring it down.
All right, we're going Goran Dragic over 2.5 assists. This comes back at plus money on DraftKings and MGM right now. I like this spot for him for a couple of reasons. One, I think it's going to play like a very competitive playoff game. They value some of his veteran experience. He will get a few additional minutes in this game simply from that fact. And then it's one of these plays. So a term that you've heard myself use, you've heard Alex use it, we've talked about it. We haven't really explained it too much. We talk about some props being fragile, right? So we talk about like a player prop being at 30 points being super fragile because there's a lot of things that can work against it. This play is one that I like to call anti-fragile. So what we have here with Goran Dragic, in the event that someone gets in foul trouble, whether it's one of the guards trying to defend James Harden and Joel Embiid, that combination, he's thrusted into more minutes instantly. If the game gets ugly one way or the other, he's thrusted into an additional 5 to 6 minutes. These are things that can really gain from chaos. When you're playing a player's point total like that, those are things that definitely do not gain from chaos. So this is one of those plays that I like to call anti-fragile. I like the spot for Dragic, though, at 2.5. He's hit 7 twice in his last 3 games. This projects as a spot where we see KD want to take on a little more scoring. We want to see some of these guys take on a little bit more scoring. That is awesome for someone like Goran Dragic, who's going to look to facilitate a little bit in this lineup. So I like this number. I think it should be at least minus 125 at the 2.5 number. Love it at plus 105 where it's at now. Play Goran Dragic over 2.5 assists.
I like that. And I'm all for any bets that we can make that are anti-fragile. I'm all for that. Let's get as concrete as possible. PropStarz, throw it to you, bro. You got one pick. Break it down.
Yeah, I mentioned this guy in my same game parlay. That is Bruce Brown. I'm a huge fan of this guy. He is a Swiss Army knife. I'm going over 17.5 points, rebounds, and assists. AB, listen to this. This guy has cleared this in 8 straight games. Wow. 9 of the last 10 overall, averaging 23.3 PRA over that 10-game span. He does a little bit of everything. He is the ultimate role player. He can handle the ball. He can initiate offense. He can score. He's a great rebounder for being a guard as well. He is a big reason why I think he's been kind of the best role player for the Nets this season. The Nets, obviously, they're competing to avoid the play-in tournament. I expect Brown to get 30-plus minutes tonight in what should be a competitive contest between 2 of the elite teams in the Eastern Conference. Love Bruce Brown over 17.5 points, rebounds, and assists.
There we go. I'll tell you what, if you love it, I love it. All right, let's get into the 2 games that we have for tonight. I'll tell you what, I promised you that we would answer questions in the chat. We're going to do that really quickly. All right, before we break down the games. And either of you guys feel free, jump on it, take it. First question here, Jay Sims. Andre Drummond plus 195 for a double-double. Good. Aldridge is out again. Seems like a lock. Either of you, what are your thoughts?
I'm not going to say it's a lock. I mean, he's certainly going to have the opportunity. I'm very interested to watch this matchup with Embiid, frankly. He's not been able to play very well in this matchup in the past. He's been in a lot of foul trouble. We'll see where he gets. You're going to need one of those performances where he has 6 points in the first quarter. In my opinion, you're going to need a really strong first stint for him. So as enticing as it is, as it's supposed to cost 200, I personally am going to stay away from it. I'm very worried about him staying out of foul trouble against the combination of Joel Embiid and James Harden.
Well said. Yeah, props, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of Mike's points. I also don't mind it, though. I think at plus 200, it does have a little bit of value. I do expect him to be on the court, staying out of foul trouble. That's a completely different story. Like Mike mentioned, very difficult guarding Joel Embiid. But yeah, the Nets lack a lot of size in their front court. So it's he's got the potential to play, 25 to 27 minutes tonight. Granted, he can stay out of foul trouble. He is a very adept rebounder. I would say the points will be harder to come by than the double-digit rebounds. And if Embiid is engaged, which you have to imagine he will be in a game this competitive, he is one of the elite defensive players in the NBA. So, I think the rebounds, very possibly gets 10+, but the points will be a little harder to come by, in my opinion.
All right, so a question on that, right? So if I'm looking at that and I'm saying, all right, I get exactly what you both are saying because you're kind of lock in step in regards to it. Would a percentage of a unit play on it kind of make it a little bit more attractive, right? So if I said, all right, I'm going to put, a quarter of a unit, right? 0.25. Is there a number? Is there anything that you guys would look at and say, all right, yeah, like I'd mess around and play it at this. I'd play it under, 0.3, 0.4, whatever. And you might not. There might not be an answer to it, but that's just kind of what comes to my mind. Any answers that you guys have to that?
I personally think it's fine for a quarter unit play at plus 200. I wouldn't go if I'd kind of skip if it's plus 190, plus 180. But you can get it plus 200. I think it's fine for a quarter unit. I do think the minutes will be there, the opportunity will be there. But like Mike mentioned, he's going to have to stay out of foul trouble. He's going to have to stay on the court, and it's not easy scoring 10 points on Joel Embiid. So, but yeah, I do think it's fine. I do think there's X% chance he has a double-double if he's able to play 25 plus minutes, which he should be. So yeah, I don't hate it.
All right. Nice. All right. Let's jump into the games. All right. First one. And perhaps we're going to your area here, right? Your hometown of Philly. We've got the Nets, 76ers. 76ers a 4.5-point favorite. Total 235, 236, depending on your book. Props, I'm going to start with you. Break this game down. What are you seeing? What do you like? What do you dislike?
Yeah, I'm very, very excited for this game. There's a lot to like. I believe the total is 235 points. I think that's climbed a little bit. I last saw it at 236.5 points. So yeah, I expect a competitive game, a little bit more up tempo. The 76ers, prior to acquiring Harden, were a bit slower. He's kind of picked the offense up. And yeah, we've seen the tempo and the pace increase for the 76ers. Going to be interested to watch how Tobias Harris plays in this offense. He has really kind of been the odd man out since James Harden was acquired. Kind of anticipated Tyrese Maxey having to take a little bit of step back, but he's actually performed very well since Harden's been acquired. It's been Harris who has struggled. He operates in some of the same spaces on the floor. He also holds the ball for a long time. So he's having to adjust for a ball dominant player who they're obviously running the offense around. If I'm the 76ers, I am putting Tobias Harris in the corners and having him shoot open corner threes. That's a byproduct of any James Harden run offense, is you're going to have a lot of open shots, specifically on the corners. We saw Joe Harris, for instance, on the Nets when they were teammates, really take advantage of that. Great shooters who play with James Harden can basically go in the corner and know they're going to get open shots. Tobias Harris is an above average corner 3-point shooter. So I am hoping Doc Rivers makes that adjustment and puts Tobias Harris in the corner and has him hopefully hitting some open threes in this game. But yeah, I'm expecting a competitive game. I'm expecting KD on the other side to be very engaged after a very quiet game from a scoring standpoint from him against Charlotte. We saw Kyrie Irving explode for 50-plus points. Really fantastic performance. But yeah, this game has all the makings of a potential playoff game, potential Eastern Conference Finals matchup as well. In my opinion, these are two of the three best teams in the East. So yeah, I'm expecting a great game. A lot of great individual performances all around.
All right, well, props really quick. And M squared, I'll get to you in 1 second. Talk to us, because I jumped over you here. Ben Simmons' return to Philly. All right, we got some ticket prices that are going insane. I'm going to get out of your way. Break it down. What do you say?
Yeah, it's unbelievable, AB. So as we know, he's returning to Philadelphia tonight. However, he won't be active. He will be on the bench for the Nets. So yeah, as a Sixers fan, Simmons was supposed to be the 76ers ticket to relevancy when they acquired him back with the number one overall pick back in 2016. We all remember Trust the Process. He was kind of the foundation of that, him and Joel Embiid. He's a supremely talented player on both ends of the floor. He possesses rare court vision for his size, had just an awful end to his career as a 76er. He became the worst free throw shooter in NBA history last year with 34%. He was looking scared to shoot the ball all throughout the Eastern Conference Finals versus the Hawks. He came in under heavy scrutiny for just, unwillingness to be aggressive. He didn't attempt a single field goal in 5 of the 7 fourth quarters in that 7-game series versus Atlanta last year. For a guy who's, a max contract player, supposed to be the face or the co-face of your franchise, that is just unacceptable. Really left a bad taste in 76ers fans' mouths, even the teammates. There's that famous Joel Embiid quote where he didn't really have an answer to say when he was asked why Simmons passed up a dunk to make a pass. So yeah, there's going to be playoff level security for tonight's game in Philadelphia. There are tickets around the Nets bench that are going for $4,000. That is the most expensive tickets on the secondary market for any 76ers game ever, including the playoffs. They already put a fence around the players' entrance to the court. I read an article in the Philadelphia Inquirer about urging the fans not to throw anything at Ben Simmons tonight as well. I can't wait for this game. It's going to be unbelievable. It should be a playoff crowd, just super rowdy, super lively. Yeah, I'm just so excited.
It's always a good thing when you got to put up a chain link fence inside of an NBA game and ask people not to throw stuff. It's going to look like one of those like WrestleMania 4, right? To where fans are just chucking paper into the thing. Yeah, I'm excited for that, man. All right, M Squared. Break this game down, man. What are you seeing? What do you like? What do you dislike?
Yeah, we've talked about it already. It's basically going to feel like a playoff atmosphere. Rumor is Ben Simmons is on the court warming up right now with the team. Not sure that it means he's going to be eligible to play in the game or want to play in the game, but he is out there. Very tense playoff environment indeed. As far as where I'm at on the game, it's tough. The totals definitely crept up to the point where I want to start leaning under. I'm terrified of it because of the scores on the floor, but that's where I'm leaning in this spot. As far as the teams, I'm not touching the spread on it. I think we're going to see a lot of efforts. It's really difficult for me to handicap this one. I had to make some pretty big manual adjustments in this game. And the reason for that is you look at scheduling, right? For these these games, both of these teams have multiple days off after this. It's almost like the NBA, like somehow, some way knew that it was going to possibly be at this point. Neither one of these teams plays till Monday. Not a travel situation to really worry about for Brooklyn on the other end of this. So this is going to be interesting. It makes me lean towards the over on all of the star props, just because I do think that we kind of thought this last time, and then the blowout at times really didn't get us there on KD's number. But if you look at KD's box score in the last game, he still played 38 plus minutes in that game. I expect that number to be stretched to 40 plus in this game as well, as long as it remains competitive. So just something to think about there. It does make it a little more difficult to handicap the game. But again, I'm treating it like a playoff game, treating it like a must-win game for both teams. And what that means is I'm not interested in any unders on Durant. I'm not interested in Harden unders. I'm not interested in Joel Embiid unders. And I'm very close to playing some Kevin Durant overs.
Yeah, I'm with you. Perhaps I'll get to you one second. Like, it's so tough when you look at numbers that are already kind of baked in. The market kind of looks efficient, but there's such a wide gap, right? And especially with the risk, like you were saying, in regards to teams having days off, a much needed win. And you've got stars who could put up points quickly. PropStarz. Yeah, what do you got, man?
Yeah, we were asked about a double prop on Drummond. I am actually looking at a triple-double prop, and that is from none other than Mr. James Harden. We saw this open at plus 390. Definitely worth a sprinkle at that. It's come down a bit. It's at plus 320 now. I think anything plus 300 has some value. So if you're looking to place a quarter unit on a fun bet, in my opinion, I would turn my attention towards that prop.
Nice find, my man. Nice find. All right, we're going to jump to the next game really quickly because I know, Mike, you have a hard out in about 10 minutes. So I want to get your thoughts on there, and I want to get best bets one more time before you have to roll and do one of your other 900 jobs here at SportsLine. All right, so we're going to take a look. 10 p.m. Eastern tonight, Warriors at the Nuggets. The Warriors are a 2-point favorite, a total of 228. M Squared, I'll start with you, man. What do you see? What do you like? What do you dislike? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I'm leaning towards Golden State pretty heavily in this game. As much as I love Nikola Jokic, and we can debate the MVP talk at some point, but what an incredible season he's having. Again, a season that's better than his MVP season. Just absolutely ridiculous. But this is a tougher scheduling spot for them. We mentioned the easy scheduling spot for the first game. This is their third game in 4 days, the second night of a back-to-back against the Golden State Warriors team. They've got a number of players questionable. Will Barton hasn't played the last 2 nights, and that's really hurt them, which has actually extended Jokic minutes and playing and all of that over the last few nights because he's been out. Aaron Gordon dealing with a foot injury. He's listed as probable, but Bones Highland, Will Barton, Jeff Green, all questionable in this game and potentially going to be out. Chief definitely thinks at least one of them sit in this spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just really thin. It's really, really, in the NBA, we talk about it all the time. You have to watch out for scheduling times. And this is, like I said, third game in 4 days, second night of a back-to-back. Now they get the Warriors, a team that can shoot with anyone, put up points with anyone. I like Golden State in this game.
Nice. All right, PropStarz. Right before I get to you, like I said, we're going to listen to your thoughts on the game. We're going to hit best bets again. M Squared has got to hop off. But everybody in the chat, we're not going to leave the show just yet because we're going to give you full access to PropStarz of any question that you have for tonight any question that you have in futures, you drop it in the chat. I promise you we will sit here and break it down, and he'll answer it for you. So go ahead and start dropping those in there right now. But yeah, PropStarz, what are your thoughts here? Warriors -2 at Nuggets, total 228.
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup. I think Mike really hit the nail on the head regarding kind of all these potential lack of depth for Denver with all these guys, especially missing in the front court. This is already a team that's undermanned, as we know, without Jamal Murray in the lineup, missing a lot of key players. So, yeah, this is just going to make it even more difficult for a team that has depth issues to begin with, in my opinion. I mean, look at the Warriors. They have a very strong bench. They have very, very good depth, in my opinion. So, yeah, this is a matchup that if multiple guys are, in fact, missing for Denver, I do expect a significant edge from the Warriors bench that I've been very impressed with. I think the Warriors have some of the best depth in the NBA, especially as far as their forwards and guards are concerned. Jordan Poole is playing very well right now. We've seen the rookie Moses Moody really take a step up. He is a very, very talented scorer. Jonathan Kuminga is starting to make his presence felt as well off the Sixers bench. So, yeah, I love this Warriors team. I think this is a good spot for them. They just have the depth, which I think is going to come going to be a big factor in this game, as you said, coming off of the second night of a back-to-back. That's when your bench may get some extra run. I just see that being a big advantage for Golden State. So I do like them quite a bit in this spot. Just so much pressure to put on Nikola Jokic, who is absolutely having a fantastic season. But yeah, he just could not do this alone. It's already a really hard spot, and especially if they're going to be without Will Barton in this matchup, going to make things that much more difficult. No Michael Porter Jr., no Jamal Murray either. So just a huge load for Jokic to potentially shoulder against the Warriors. So I also like the Warriors in this spot. I just ultimately think the game might be competitive for the first half. You could see the Warriors pulling away maybe towards the end of the third, early fourth, if the bench can kind of get hot for the Warriors, which I expect to happen. So yeah, I'm leaning Golden State here.
All right. I like it. All right. Really quickly, we got 2 games tonight. Our John Morant Memorial first basket of the game can come from either game. PropStarz, I'm going to throw it back to you really quickly. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm going with my guy, the chef, Mr. Curry. We got both Currys playing tonight, but I'm going with my guy, Steph, not to be confused with Seth, who will also be making his return to Philadelphia for Brooklyn. Saw this at plus 700. Just thought that was great value for the GOAT shooter. Let's see if he can get going. Sink a 3. Get me into the club for the second time this season, AB.
Yeah, by the time we get to the playoffs, you're going to be owning the club. So I like that one. All right, M Squared, coming to you. Who's your first basket tonight?
I'm going Andre Drummond plus 1,000. I think it's going to come on a stick back. I think it's going to be a missed shot offensive rebound. I think he's going to find the bucket there. Give me Andre Drummond plus 1,000, 10-1.
Nice. All right, I'm going to go. You know what, PropStarz, you brought him up earlier. James Harden. I'm going James Harden. That is going to be our first bucket, plus 650 tonight. And wouldn't it be fantastic if the one time that I host while Coach is scrambling around trying to do 19 things, that I hit it and get in the club before him? I'm kind of hoping.
I'd love that. I'd love for that to happen, AB.
I would too. All right, M Squared, before you got to hop off, let's take a look at our best bets one more time. Break it down for us and give any final thoughts that you have on the game. Mike, you go first. Props, you go second here.
Yeah, my favorite play, Goran Dragic, over 2.5 assists, plus 105 here. Love it at plus money. I've seen SportsLine model, for example, has it even higher than I do in mine. This is a play that I talked about. It's being anti-fragile. We can gain a lot from a number of different game scripts. His baseline minutes and playing time should be there, but there's definitely increased opportunity when it comes to potential foul trouble, whether it's Kyrie Irving, Seth Curry, any of these guys, even Kevin Durant, for example. Just the guys that they're playing on the other side are very good at initiating contact and drawing fouls. And then furthermore, it can also gain from any sort of a blowout one way or the other. He's certainly going to play additional minutes. We've mentioned many times, we think this is closer to a playoff game. That's where they value some of the veteran experience. That's where he will be on the court at different times. And you look at games like this as well. This is when Durant wants to score. This is when those guys want to score. That really leads from some more facilitating from guys like Dragic. So I like the over 2.5 assists.
Nice. Well, Mike, we sure do appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time, man. And we will see you. I don't know. Are you on the early edge in the morning tomorrow?
I'll be on the early edge in the morning. I'll give you one more future. I tweeted it out last week. I did play the 76ers to win the title last week, plus 700. And I also have another combo, which is a Suns and 76ers final, which is plus 1100 currently at today's pricing. If anyone's
there we
interested
go.
there.
I like it, man. Well, hey,
All
thank you so much, buddy. Yeah, we'll see you in the morning, man. Appreciate it,
See you
man.
guys.
All right,
See you, Mike.
PropStarz, go ahead. Break down. What do you got?
Yeah, so I've got my man Bruce Brown, one of my favorite players in the NBA. I've got him over 17.5 PRA, points, rebounds, and assists AB. I mentioned this earlier. He has cleared this number in 8 straight games and 9 of the last 10 overall games. That is incredible. He's averaging 23.3 points, rebounds, and assists over that span. He just does a little bit of everything. He is the ultimate role player, Swiss Army knife for the Nets. He's been playing great basketball. I just think the Nets are going to have to be competitive in this game. They are fighting for their playing lives. They do not want to be in the play-in tournament. They want to secure a spot in the playoffs, hopefully move up a couple seeds as well, so they're not matched up with a team like the Sixers or, potentially Milwaukee or Miami in the first round. So yeah, I'm expecting big minutes out of Brown. He's been hovering between 30 and 34 minutes over these past 10 games as well. And I just think this number is closer to his floor than it is his ceiling. So yeah, I love Bruce Brown tonight, over 17.5 PRA, AB.
There we go. I like it. All right. As we promised, you have full access to the brilliant brain over there of PropStarz. Any question that you have in regards to the NBA, whether it's tonight, whether it's a future, whether it's a prop tonight, a spread total, you name it, drop it in. Please include the juice with that, and we'll go through the chat. Yeah, go ahead. What do you got, buddy?
Yeah, I just want to tell the chat, I have never had the opportunity to tell them this. I've gone back a couple times and watched some streams, and I see that a lot of people are asking me questions as, we are streaming. And I apologize. I actually never look at the chat while I'm streaming. I'm easily distracted. So I just feel bad that I've ignored so many questions that have been specifically asked to me in the past. I just want to apologize to anybody that felt like I was ignoring them. I assure you that's not the case. You can always DM me or contact me, however, and I'd be happy to answer any question you have. Unfortunately, I do not read the chat while we stream.
Hey, well, you know what? You're doing your job, right? Like, it's tough. And it can distract you. Like, people will see me all the time, like, during the show. I'll just start laughing and forget where we're at in the show because the chat's hilarious. So, no, man, it's understandable. Look, our first question here, I found this one really interesting. All right. So, from Cameron Swanson, put it on the screen here. He says, is there a certain prop category in basketball, i.e. rebounds, props that you feel like are more chance and less player skill? That question makes sense? And
yeah, that's a great question.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great question, and specifically rebounds. So yeah, I would encourage anybody to do as much kind of tracking as far as your results are concerned as possible. Not only just you want to, kind of monitor your wins and losses, specifically look at what categories, of props that you're finding success or, potentially unsuccessful in. For me personally, it actually happens to be rebounds. I have a most minimal edge. I think it's very difficult to handicap rebounds. You're kind of just looking for a discrepancy in the line versus kind of breaking down where the strengths and weaknesses of a potential advantageous matchup is, etc. So yeah, I think a lot of rebounds really just come down to, frankly, where the ball is going to bounce. That being said, there are guys, as far as like the dominant rebounders are concerned, where you look at guys like Vucevic, you look at guys like Rudy Gobert. Those guys, I think, if you're finding kind of inefficiencies in those rebounding lines, they're fine to bet. But when you're betting on a guard's rebounding output, that is going to just so often come down to, frankly, chance, like where the ball bounces. Is it going to be, a long bounce that makes it to the perimeter? It's just I don't think there is very much of an edge to be had handicapping for guards rebounds. So yeah, that's a position that I have had to kind of force myself, especially recently, to just not necessarily ignore, but I just don't place a lot of emphasis on that category just because I don't think the edges are that significant.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer. And, when you've got a team, like say you're betting on whichever position in regards to rebounds and you're betting the over, right? Their opposition, right? Like, is this a team that shoots a lot of threes, right? Like, and you're going to get a higher, trajectory of the bounce on the rebound. It's generally going to be coming in harder, bouncing off harder. That's fascinating. I'm with you. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
And one more point I also like to make as far as rebounds are concerned. Rebounds, they're kind of a stat similar to sacks in the NFL when they're not necessarily indicative of the impact that someone has. So as an example, Steven Adams, the center for the Memphis Grizzlies, formerly of the Oklahoma City Thunder, he's one of the best rebounders in the NBA, especially if you look at the advanced numbers for rebounding. When he is on the court, his team has a significant rebounding advantage. However, that doesn't necessarily translate to the stat sheet. He doesn't average 12 plus rebounds like a guy like Andre Drummond, as an example. He is expending so much energy boxing out, filling up space, kind of allowing other players to have rebounding opportunities. And then when you look at a guy like Andre Drummond, who has, led the league in rebounding, he's averaged close to 15 rebounds multiple seasons in the NBA. His teams actually rebound really poorly because of the fact that he sells out for rebounds. He's a selfish rebounder. He will just, kind of rip the ball out of his teammates' hands in scenarios.
Lover, yeah.
Selfish, yeah, not get back on defense and stuff. So, I just things to be aware of when you're kind of looking at rebounding props. I just don't feel like the edges are really prevalent compared to other categories, at least.
I love it, man. That's nice. All right. Our man Sean here. Kyrie, over 4.5 assists tonight, -115.
I don't hate it. We just kind of see Kyrie. He either seems to kind of be in passive mode or he seems to be in ultra aggressive mode. We saw Kyrie score 50 points versus Charlotte. Doesn't really pass the ball when he's working, when he's firing. So I actually have been really impressed with Durant as a playmaker since he's come back. I believe his line is set at 4.5 or maybe it's 5.5 plus money, if I'm not mistaken. He's been engaging a lot of offense. He's been really just a more willing passer. For Kyrie, in my opinion, kind of just comes down to whether or not that shot's fallen. If that shot's fallen, he's just going to be shooting a ton. So I personally don't love Kyrie's assist tonight.
All right. John Shields asks, plus 3,900 on FanDuel, triple-double for Kevin Durant.
Don't hate it, but I would caution you that Durant's rebounds and assist numbers have been down since returning from the injury. I don't think he's eclipsed 14 yet in a game, combined rebounds and assists. So this would be a significant jump in output, certainly capable at plus 3,900. That is obviously tremendous odds, but I personally tend to think that he's just kind of, getting a little bit back into rhythm. That same level of engagement as far as rebounding and assists might be a little slower to come along. Obviously, the scoring, he's back to being the most proficient, effective scorer in the NBA. But I just would rather see a little more output before I'd sprinkle it. But I can't stop you at plus 3,900 either.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you right there, which category, would you feel most comfortable with, least comfortable with? And you broke it down perfectly right there. All right, Joel Embiid, over 3.5 assists, plus 120. That's from Scott Sneed.
I like this one considering just how much the ball just operates in Embiid's hands so much. When you're looking at the amount of touches that this guy gets, his usage rate on a nightly basis, 4 assists are totally within the line of potential outcomes. Plus money, I think it's provides some good value. He's a willing passer, a skilled passer as well. He will make a pass if it's open, unlike other guys, that play in the low post. He's a skilled passer. So I like that one.
There we go. All right, we're going to get some more here real quick. I just want to say, everyone, we have our official Early Edge March Madness bracket where you can compete against PropStarz, M Squared, Coach, the Jeweler, me, Maestro, everybody. We want everybody involved in this. You see the link below. There are going to be prizes. We've got $100 Paramount Plus gift cards to give out. You know that we're going to throw out more merch and prizes as well, plus bragging rights. So you see the link on the screen. It's also in the descriptions. Make sure to hit that because, again, we want every single person that is in the entire Early Edge crew. We want you in this because, look, we have the morning show. We're going to break this thing down live of who we have each single day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, right? We're going to break these things down of who is in the lead in real time. So make sure, obviously, it's completely free to play. Yeah, props. What do you got?
Do you have an early favorite for March Madness that you like, or a dark horse or anything?
I'll tell you what, man. I kind of think Texas Tech might make a little noise here, right? I'm not saying throw down on a future here, but I kind of like Texas Tech, man. Like they're a fun team, dude, and they're scrappy. Like they win a lot of tight games. They're a lot of fun, but it's going to be a blast because we have so much parity in college basketball, man. It's going to be great. All right, another question here from Jeet85 from the Lions Den. He says, I have Tyrese Maxey over 3.5 rebounds at -103. What are your thoughts there?
I don't dislike it, but AB asked this question earlier, kind of what categories do I shy away from? And I specifically pointed out guards as far as the rebounds are concerned. So much of it, in my opinion, kind of comes down to where the ball is going to bounce. Maxey's certainly capable of getting 4 rebounds in this game. I don't dislike the bet, but these are kind of just bets that I personally shy away from just because I don't think there is a significant edge there. I don't think it's possible to really handicap when a guard is going to have a big rebounding night. So personally, I shy away from these specific props, but I also don't hate it either if you feel like you have an edge on it.
All right, there we go. All right, so let's see here. Garthik asks, what are your thoughts on the DPOY race? Robert Williams dark horse or Rudy Gobert run away with it?
So I love the futures market, guys. That's like I spent a ton of time researching this specifically. This has also been something I've been paying very close attention to because Gobert hasn't played that much this season. Yes, he's the front runner, but when you look at these kind of awards, futures markets, and like Defensive Player of the Year, you're kind of looking at where the best narrative is. And you're also predicting how other people are going to select. You're not necessarily picking who is the best defensive player. You're kind of looking for, how 50 sports writers are where their vote is going to go. They tend to like stories. So it's not necessarily, I'm just going to look at the advanced numbers, who has the biggest impact as far as, defensive players are concerned. Unfortunately, the award is not given out that way. It's given out to, who is the most recognizable name that the sports writers feel deserves the award. Rudy Gobert, because of his, historical relevancy and the fact that he's won this award so many times, and he's sort of the foundation for Utah's team, which is also really good. He is the front runner, but I do think Robert Williams has some value at his number. I'm not sure where it's currently at right now, but if you actually do look at a lot of those advanced metrics, he has undoubtedly been one of the best defensive players in the NBA. Not only that, he is the best defensive player on arguably the best defensive team in the NBA. That means something. I would like to see the Celtics kind of end up with a top 4 seed. I think if you can, end up as a top 3 or 4 team, you lead all the defensive metrics, and you're the best defensive player on that team. That bodes well for you. But yeah, Robert Williams has been phenomenal defensively, just an anchor for the Celtics, protects the rim just really well. And the Celtics are the best defensive team in the NBA, in my opinion. So he deserves a lot more attention. Long-winded answer, but I do think he has some value. I just would caution you, be careful, because you're not selecting, like I said, who the best defensive player is. You're predicting who the voters are going to vote for, who they think the best defensive player is.
Props. I wouldn't trust you with a short answer. All right. Right. That's not what I want at all. So yeah, you let it rip. All right. Jason has an interesting question in here. All right. Seen some lasers plays out there lately. Do you ever run these like on Curry threes tonight?
Like ladder plays? I think you meant ladder plays, right, AB? I do. Just depends on sort of where the number is set. So, yeah, like Curry, for instance, does provide some potential because he has not been kind of scoring behind the arc at a rate that you're accustomed to with Curry. Like in the first, third of the season, he was making, I think 5.7 threes per game. Now that number is somewhere between 3 and 3.5. So you're getting more friendly numbers. However, he just hasn't been in the same rhythm, haven't seen the same attempts, haven't seen the same output. But when you get these low numbers on guys who are capable to just provide a huge ceiling, tremendous upside, I do think those are the positions that you want to take as far as laddering is concerned, because he's more than capable of hitting 7 or 8 threes when it gets hot, especially if you're getting a number that starts at like 3.5. I do think that has some value. So yes, I like the way you're thinking with Curry's threes for potential laddering play.
Nice. All right. Now, DeLon Green asks, Durant, Embiid, Kyrie. all go for 25 plus points each tonight. I don't know if there is a juice involved with that one.
It's a promo on FanDuel, I believe, AB.
Cool.
I've seen this one. It's interesting. I've thought a lot about it. It's tough for two players on the same team to go for 25 points, even though it seemed, Kyrie averages something like 23.5 points per game. Obviously, KD close to 30 points a game. You think it would happen, but generally it kind of one guy leads the scoring and the other guy takes a more complimentary role.
Yeah, Durant, not to interrupt you, I think Durant went for only, 14 the other night?
14 when Kyrie popped off for 50. So, yeah, it's just uncommon for, a lot has to break right for that to happen. So while on the surface you would think because these guys all average, Embiid and Durant average well over 25, Irving averages close to 25, that this would happen frequently, but it's just a lot to happen. So I just don't think the value is there personally. I think kind of one of these guys will get hot for Brooklyn, and then the other guy will take a more of a secondary scoring role or playmaking if the other guy's stroking it like we saw with KD and Irving versus Charlotte.
All right, nice. All right, Tariq Bourgeois asks, Harden over 2.5 3-pointers tonight, plus 105.
Yeah, I like this quite a bit. Mike mentioned he likes a lot of overs in this game. Harden specifically, a guy I want to target. This guy is playing so well. He is engaged. We're seeing MVP James Harden since he's joined the Sixers. He's just doing everything. The guy is just an absolute genius on the basketball court. I think he's going to have a huge game versus his former team. I mentioned I like the triple-double prop. I like him over 2.5 threes. I believe in my same game parlay, I have him making 2 threes. So
let me pause you real quick. Yeah, not to interrupt you, but I was literally about to say, Hewan says, or asked, James Harden triple-double. Yeah, you had spoken about that earlier. So, yeah, keep going. Let it rip. I didn't mean to rip.
Yeah. So I'm all in on Harden. I think anything over plus 300 for him for a triple-double has some good value. I'm not saying you make that a full unit play, but I definitely think it's in play. I think the odds should have been closer, maybe kind of plus 175 to plus 250. Anything over the plus 250, I believe, has some value there. So, yeah, I like it.
Nice. All right, perfect. Well, I'll tell you what, I think we've gotten everything in the chat here, so we're going to get out of here, let you guys get these bets in, get ready for the 2 games that we have for tonight. The first one obviously tipping here in about 15 minutes. So let's put up the same game parlay one more time. PropStarz, run us through it. What do we got? What are we looking at?
Yep. So first up, we've got Bruce Brown over 6+ rebounds. Kevin Durant, 5+ assists. James Harden, 9+ assists. KD to score 25 points. Joel Embiid to score 30+ points. And James Harden to drain 2 threes. Put that all together, it gets you plus 700 on DraftKings.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful look. All right, one last question, and then we'll jump out of here. All right. 9.5 points, rebounds, assists, and steals, or over 10 for plus money.
For Thibault, I mean, that is it's such a low number. You do expect him, but his job first and foremost is going to be to slow the best perimeter player on the opposing team down. He's not going to be, he's a very low volume shooter. He only takes 3 to 4 shots per game. When I'm looking at Thibault props, I like to look at his stocks. I said stocks, that is the combination of blocks and steals. He's way more active in there. If you can find him at over 2.5 or plus money, that is where I'm looking at for Matisse Thibault props personally, rather than his PRA.
Look at you buying stocks, baby. You ready to go. All right, PropStarz, any final thoughts that you have for tonight for 2 games?
I'm just so excited. I think this is a great doubleheader. Get to watch it on TNT, AB. I'm stoked. Hoping my Sixers at least are very competitive in this game. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. It's going to be an electric crowd. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic, man. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for understanding that Coach has about 50 things going on, and you had to deal with me and my applesauce brain for here a little bit. Like, that's why I wanted to make sure that we got as much PropStarz and M Squared as possible. Again, I'll say it. The link is in the description. Join the Early Edge March Madness bracket. We will break this thing down every single morning after games. Put leaderboards up on the screen, put you up on the screen. Shoot, if you're up here whooping me, I'll put you on the show, right? Like, so make sure, join it. The link's in the description. It's completely free, prizes and everything else. So you've got your marching orders. It was a fun show tonight. We'll see you all tomorrow morning on the Early Edge. Thank you all. Best of luck.